Right. Well, welcome everyone to the final Art of Freelance showcase for spring, summer 2021. Congratulations to everybody for making this far. We are really excited to see what you've all been cooking up. So just want to let you guys know that for the Art of Freelance this semester, we had 14 people taking the workshop on a full or partial scholarship, supported by Space for the Arts. They're huge supporters of the creative community. We'd like to thank them for extending that support to these artists. This is a culmination of a 10-week workshop. Together, we did a series of exercises, identified big goals, broke those down into projects that would take us a step closer to the goals, checked in each week with a small cohort of other creatives while we worked on one of those projects so we could support each other, give feedback, and hold each other accountable. You're going to be seeing presentations from 2 of the 10 cohorts. Everyone else already went this week. Some of these projects are going to still be works in progress, and we encourage that. We think it's important to celebrate the path and not just the final shiny object. It's going to be a fast-paced evening of presentations. Each person has only 3 minutes to show what they've worked on for 10 weeks, which obviously is not a lot of time. So we encourage everyone to follow the people they're inspired by, connect in the chat, and reach out after the event. Follow Art of Freelance on Instagram at Art of Freelance, and get into the fall workshops at artoffreelance.com. And without further ado, the first person up to present is Alicia Stepp.
Hi, everyone. My name's Alicia Stepp. I'm going to go ahead and jump in here and get my screen shared. And let me know if, oops. And of course, that's freezing on me. 1 second. I don't know why that's, let's try that again. Okay. Can you see that okay? Awesome. Okay. My name is Alicia Stepp. I'm a photographer and I'm based in Dallas, Texas. I do fashion and beauty work mostly, and this is just a quick sample of my work. And over the past year, like many of us during the pandemic, I was trying to, feeling creatively challenged and frustrated and wanting to figure out new ways to create, and virtual creation was what came out of that. On Art of Freelance in fall 2020, I pushed that a little further and did a project last year with virtual capture. And I wanted to kind of continue on that with this workshop. And one of the things that came out of 2020 also was just thinking a lot about not only my life, but my career, and thinking about how I was pushing so hard professionally, but I wanted to give back to my community. I wanted to figure out ways where I could focus a little less on myself and more on my community of creatives. And so that's how Visionary was born. And I wanted to highlight and just support my fellow creatives. So to tell you a bit about Visionary, it's an initiative to highlight exciting and underrepresented female identifying creatives. And it will be an ongoing project during which I will be capturing remote portraits of these women as well as their stories. And we will feature portraits and stories from a broad spectrum of creative disciplines from talented women around the globe. And the catalyst for Visionary was actually a young girl named Nell Klein Smith. She's in rural Canada. She's a young musician who has a really cool story. And she's up and coming, about to release her very first album. And she was the catalyst for this project. And so these images, there's a quick sampling of some images that I captured of her remotely. These are the sorts of things that you'll get to see on Visionary, which is going to be, the initial launch is going to be done through Instagram, but hopefully this will be built out in a couple of different ways, maybe a coffee table book, something like that eventually. So the goal is to have, to get out this submission form so we can get submissions from all around the world. You can nominate yourself, you can nominate a friend, someone you've seen that you just think is really cool that might, that hasn't had a chance to be highlighted and that's underrepresented. We really want to focus on and feature those people. And then once we receive the nominations, we will use this query to get a little more information for these features. This is a quick little mock-up for the Instagram build-out to show the sorts of things that we will be sharing. The content focus will be on these artist profiles, showing behind the scenes on these remote shoots, really focusing on diversity. There goes my timer. And just women who inspire the community, and as well as their creative processes. So this is just a real quick little synopsis of the project, but we are accepting nominations right now. So please visit us. This is the Instagram handle, and we are planning to launch July 2021. So please, there is a form in the Instagram bio. So please share and nominate anyone who you think might be a good fit. And here's some more contact information right here. This is the email address for any more information you'd like on the project, and as well as my personal contact information. So thank you so much for your time, and my cohort was amazing. Thank you, Sam. I just love Art of Freelance and appreciate the opportunity.
Right. Next up, we have Sadie Sabula, who unfortunately could not be with us tonight, but she was nice enough to make a video that we could share with everyone. So we'll do that now.
Hi everyone, my name is Sadie Sabula, and I am in Paris, which is why I'm sending the video. It's great that I'm here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. You'll learn why it's good I'm here. So how my project started was I wanted to start an EP, which meant finding a producer in New York, polishing off a song, find musicians, taking some artist photos. I wanted to play a snippet here in the presentation. But what happened was I did talk to some producers, and ultimately this timing didn't work out with Art of Freelance, but I did take some photos and I will be continuing that project. But what I realized I needed in the meantime, and why I wanted to have the music aspect, is because I needed to develop my elevator pitch, like what I brought to the table, a log line and a why for each of the projects that I'm doing, some comparisons to people like me or projects that I want to do, some photographs for each that I can use professionally for each of the things that I want to do. Here's like a mission statement, some keywords. As first and foremost, an actor. I am a multi-hyphenate storyteller between these three places. As a writer, I am all about the attention to the details and the small moments, and that means so much more, and pointing out the poetry and symbolism in everyday life, flipping the narrative for female perspective, and as a side act, the music, the folk indie music, offering a callback to early country and folk powerhouses with a coastal twist. This is a play that I'm writing. It is, that's the log line right there, and the reason why I'm writing it is to combat the stigma around drug abuse and suicide and death in youth, because it's something that's not uncommon, but the people left behind often feel like they don't have, they feel alone. So that is, and young people on stage, there aren't a lot of plays that have that. These are some references that have inspired me. This is a mini-series I'm working on, that the reason why I'm writing it is for French-American collaboration, to help people think outside of their culture and how other cultures offer different ways, perspectives on how to live life, and to encourage people to step outside of their comfort zone, and that being uncomfortable is good. Murder Ballads is another series I'm working on. It is a feminist twist on traditional murder ballad stories that really look at what the woman's perspective might have been if they could have been the ones to tell these stories passed down over the centuries. And these are some reference pictures. Oh, and I wanted to add, it has to do a lot with sexual education and equality and expression and how women were able to tell their side of the story. This is the music project. I'm first going to be recording Suitcase. The sense of theme has to do with travel and the little special moments passing. These are some album art references. I've talked to the artist. These are some of the photos that I took with a photographer. You can see the California, the modernity, the folk references. Thank you so much for watching. I'd really appreciate feedback as I'm getting into the world of, looking for representation and really being clear with what I bring to the table and who I am and what my voice is and what I offer the world. So if you have any feedback, that's my email, my Instagram, follow me, or just send me some thoughts. Thank you so much for listening, and good luck with all of your presentations. Thank you.
Wow, that was great. Next up is Saman Sefi.
Thanks, James. You got it right. So, yeah. So my name is Saman. I'm a photographer based in LA, and for this Art of Freelance session, I just wanted to add to my portfolio, focusing on athletes. And so I did 3 shoots. I'm going to share with you one of the shoots, and it's of sprinters, and 2 of them are Olympic hopefuls. So fingers crossed, they're going to be accepted. Let's see. Okay. Do you guys see full screen now? Yes? No? You do not see full screen? You do. Okay, thank you. All right, so here we go. So I shot them at a high school track. I did not have a permit. Pardon?
I'm only seeing a black screen.
Uh-oh. Hang on. Thank you for letting me know. I don't know why it's not working.
There we go.
Okay, great. So, here we go. Oh. You see images now?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So, high school track in Burbank, I didn't have a permit. The shoot got shut down. Like I was about halfway or 3/4 of the way through my shoot when it got shut down. But I got some decent images, I think. I had a great time shooting them, and I got to continue the shoot on a different day at a different location. And that's it.
Absolutely gorgeous stuff.
Thanks, James. You were awesome.
All right, do we have Diane in the house? No. All right. Karin Hill is up next.
Okay. It's going to time myself so I can actually, all right. Hi, my name is Karin Hill. I'm an entertainment photographer director. I live in LA. I'm currently in quarantine in Canada, loving it. So when I started up, I thought I was going to have a photo art project, but I ended up doing the script I'd always wanted to write. Through the process, I found a writing partner, and I'm developing the storylines with her. But here is an excerpt from my stream of consciousness pages I wrote for ideas. The working title is Someone to Bleed. Whoops. I'm sorry, I forgot to start that. Okay, here I go. One day, Max woke up and found she was living a midlife crisis cliche. A song is playing in her head. It's Just What I Needed by the Cars. I don't mind you coming here and wasting all my time, because when you're standing oh so near, I kind of lose my mind. I guess you're just what I needed. I needed someone to bleed. We were in an MRI room. An unknown woman lies in the darkness in the machine. Just what I needed. The noise from the MRI machine vibrates through her head. Don't move. Don't feel claustrophobic. Images of driving through a snowstorm flash to the soundtrack playing in her head. I kind of lose my mind. She's lying flat and stuck inside the machine. Her eyes are closed and a red laser works like a needle with precision, penetrating her brain and searching for damage to explain why she has stopped remembering anything. Max is driving through a snowstorm on a highway. The road has disappeared under thick snow and driving takes every bit of the concentration she has left. Intermittently, the headlights of a car illuminate her. It is wintertime in the middle of an unseasonal snowstorm and the snow is falling hard. High beam lights lights the snow like the confetti and completely cuts the visibility to zero. She passes cars strewn on the side of the highway like casually discarded clothing thrown aside like the first time you have sex with a new partner. There is an assortment of birthday decorations on the back seat, which is full of groceries and birthday cake. We see a second woman driving on a road through the same snowstorm. Prue is the same age as Max. She has a determined, vacant look. Her car swerves every so often, and we are not sure if she's impaired in some way. Because you're standing oh so near, I kind of lose my mind. As we see Prue closer up in the second car, we see that something isn't quite right with her. She is balding and looks unhealthy. She has a wild look in her eyes and she is crying. There is a large truck coming the other way on the smaller country highway she's driving on. We watch Max start up the incline of a dangerous mountain pass. We see Prue is starting to get blinded by the truck's lights, and we see a moment of decision in her eyes as she knowingly swerves into the oncoming truck. It doesn't matter where you've been as long as it was deep. We see a couple in a dark room. They reach for each other and connect in a passionate embrace. Prue's swerving car connects with the truck. Max's car is winding slowly around the treacherous highway. It happens in slow motion. Around the corner, a small Honda car comes a little too fast. It drifts like a swan around the corner, then across into Max's lane, and then slowly towards Max's car. She sees a frightened face coming towards her, and then there is a dull, unclimactic thud of contact and a recognition of panic of the driver. It is suddenly quiet. The snow continues falling in dark, chunky flakes. Cars and trucks are starting to stop on either side of the accident, and the two vehicles are still blocking the road. I guess you're just what I needed. I needed someone to bleed. The end. That's it. Thank you.
Amazing. That was so great.
So my anything to do with me is Karen Hill. So I'm LinkedIn, I'm Instagram, I'm like all of those things. So thank you everyone for listening, and thank you to the Art of Freelance, and thank you to James and the group. You're all incredible and inspiring. I appreciate it and really love the journey. So thank you.
Well, that was just what I needed. And up next is James Pedix. Hey, that's me. All right, cool. Let's go. Share screen. Here we go. This is a cuttlefish, cousin to the squid and octopus and master of undersea camouflage. They can change their color, pattern, and shape at will. They do this to blend into their surroundings, to hide from predators, and to distract their prey while hunting for a meal. This is an NFT, or non-fungible token. It's a digital piece of art that can be bought and sold using blockchain technology. Once you own an NFT, it sits in your wallet, and you can look at it anytime you want to. Nice. We've created an NFT card game that does more than just sit in your wallet and look cool. It's a fully customizable character that you can combine with other cards. It's called Cuddle Fusion, and here's how it works. First off, you start by buying a pack of cuttlefish cards. Each card contains a different cuttlefish. Some are based on color, like canary, carnation, crimson. Some are based on costumes, like cowboy or coffee, classy. These cuttlefish are yours to nickname whatever you like and appear on our website in your own personal cuttlefish cave. Now, here's the fun part. You can take any two compatible cuttlefish. Well, there's cowboy. And you can fuse them together, creating a brand new cuttlefish with the best qualities of both. Now you can take that cuttlefish and combine it with another cuttlefish, and now we have carnation cowboy cuttlefish. You can mix and match to create your own fun character. And we can see that, Yeah, so Carnation Cowboy Cuttlefish gets his own card and his own bio that is a mixture of all 3 cards set to his own personality. Now, once you're bored of Carnation Cowboy Cuttlefish, you can unfuse the cards and they go back to their original forms. And then you can reform whatever cuttlefish you want with whatever cards you have. You can buy and sell fused or unfused cuttlefish on NFT marketplaces. If you buy a fused cuttlefish from a friend, you can unfuse them and then recombine them with your own cards. And here's just some example of some fun combinations you could make. This is cannabis cuttlefish. That's everyone's favorite. So Cuttle Fusion is fun for everyone. The characters you create are all your own, and they're going to be used in upcoming adventures, some games, some mini games, prizes, all sorts of things. That's phase 2, but for now, you're going to be able to fuse and unfuse cuttlefish and have a great old time. And the site will be live soon at cuttlefusion.com.
Right.
There we go.
That was wild. Can't wait to play that. So next up, we have a short message from Betsy and Van, or it looks like just Van tonight.
Sorry to disappoint.
No, that's all right. So we'll play the video from Space for Arts here real quick. We get this right about half the time here, Van, don't we? And after that, we'll hear a bit from Space for Arts, who are great supporters, as James mentioned earlier, of not only Art of Freelance, but just art organizations around the world. So here we go.
With MailChimp.
No, we're not MailChimp. Thanks. It's a great pleasure for us all to be with you this evening. And we are appreciating the work that you do and the time, effort, and emotion that you put into it. The sizzle reel ended on community, but that's where we begin. It's about being part of the community and giving back. And we're thrilled to be supporting Art of Freelance and everything you all are doing every day to be creative and stay creative in this after these challenging 16 or 18 months. Simply, a Space for Arts is taking an Airbnb-like approach to professional production spaces. So we are vetting the studios that you saw on the sizzle. We've been to every one of them. We vet them to make sure that they are up to a standard, and it's free for creatives. There's no incremental cost. We're happy to help you source a studio for your production at any time. Please check us out, spaceforarts.com. We'd love to help you, and good luck with all of your creative endeavors. Thanks.
Thank you. So cool. All right. Up next, we have Micah Greenberg.
Well, hi, everybody. Okay, I better get my website ready to go. mean, I'm not building it right now. I'm just pulling it up so that I can share my screen. Uh, so this is my third Art of Freelance, or second and a half. I completed it once, and I made a website for myself for my freelance work and brand strategy and storytelling. I got sort of halfway through last time, and this time I finished again, which I'll show you, and decided to do a more personal project. In the process to create a personal connection with a lot of you on this call and others. So with kind of our shared trauma of 2020 and other months and years surrounding it, one of the things that I lost and that I missed was, this will sound sort of random, it's core for me. I wrote typewriter poetry at events, and love doing it. I'm gonna show you what that looked like. So that looked like this. So this was in a baby shower at Hotshot Muffler, where you may know Art of Freelance is based. With this project, I thought, how do I create that kind of connection virtually? Find that creative outlet and find that personal connection that happens typically between an event attendee and me. So Reflect and Repair is a website and a project asking participants, could be anyone, to reflect on 2020 and share a theme that's meaningful to them. That theme for many is something upsetting or challenging, often unprecedented, but it could be empowering, surprising. Right? Some people have met and been married, had a baby, right? Made a breakthrough in business. In response to each theme, which people are submitting through this form here on the website, I then write a poem, a haiku. So if you don't know, a haiku is very short. It's a counting of syllables, 5 syllables, then 7, then 5. So saying a lot with a little. And here are some samples so far. I've had about 50 submissions, and thank you to Connor for including this in an Art of Freelance email blast. So I'll show you some of these. The first one is for someone on this call who went through a divorce in the last year. So on surrender, what does mortal man know of a goddess just now, measuring her wings? The second for a photographer also on this call, on reflection, shudder to shudder, no place for polite lenses, where we snap awake. And then there were some funnier themes like sourdough as salve. So praising the mother, empowering us to rise, one bite at a time. And discovering pop tennis at Venice Beach, which is like mini tennis with the deflated ball. I brought my paddle. Want to play doubles? Haven't scored in quite a while. Okay, and in the lower left, I'll just say this is for Matthew of Art of Freelance, who had a baby this year. If you haven't seen Hawthorne, he has just huge cheeks. So a cherub on earth, plump with possibility, necklace of new stars. And finally, on reconnecting, sort of coming out of COVID and coming together again, we swim naked in a basin we built, filled with everything we missed. Okay, so the project is still going. I encourage you, if you haven't, to submit a theme through this form. I'll email you with your poem and put as many as possible up on the website. I started as a creative writer and quickly decided I won't make a living as a poet, so I became a brand strategist and storyteller. So if you have an idea and you need help pulling it together, or you have an established business and you need help spreading the word, you can find more about me professionally at micahgreenberg.co. My email is here too if you want to connect. Thanks very much.
Get some poetry snaps in there for you, dude. Congratulations, it's amazing. All right, up next we have Fabienne Toback.
Hi. I want to start by saying thank you to everyone in my cohort. It was wonderful. I'm a documentary filmmaker, and I'm plugging my documentary that's out right now. It's out on Netflix. It's called High on the Hog, which is a history of African Americans as told through the lens of food. And as you know, as creatives, a lot of our time spent is, especially if it's artistic, and making a living at it is, there's not, sometimes there's creativity takes like a back seat. And in COVID, I wanted to, well, let me just play this. Disclaimer, because I saw a child there, there's nudity in this. So if you want to, okay. So I wrote a little introduction. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm super nervous because I've never exposed myself like this. So, can you see the screen? Is there an image? Is there anything there?
Looks
yes?
good.
Oh, okay, cool. Let me just go then full screen. Okay. So I'll read you a little intro that I wrote with it. Okay. And by the way, this outs me as the divorced person. Okay. In January of 2020, my marriage took its last breath. It was a long time coming. Too many years of trying to make work what wasn't working anymore. My adult identity had been one of service to others as wife and mother. And at the end of familiar foundations of identity, I found myself lost in the tendrils of my own existence. The following months, work kept me busy, fulfilled, needed, and useful in a way that my kids nor my husband wanted me any longer. In the midst of extensive work travel, I traveled to Africa and countless trips to my hometown in New York, had me hopeful for seamless uncoupling. But what happened in the coming months proved this wasn't to be. Even the place I called home had become too confined a space to call my own. That feeling when you wake up from a deep dream and everything feels so unfamiliar and you're not sure where you are or what day it is. A perversion of waiting and waiting and more waiting. This project started as an exploration into the male gaze, an exercise to while the time away with the slow process of film as I had taken up online dating at the start of the end. As weeks became months, COVID scattered people physically and psychologically, and we were all forced into our own reckonings, fears, and isolations. Gifted with the opportunity to inhabit these vacated spaces where friends retreated from, I became less interested in the performative, superficial gaze of others and freer to deep dive into the tangle of shadow and self, embracing an ability to look at myself, sort out my psyche, fears, regrets, figure out a path towards a place I knew not yet, to awaken from that dream. Okay, so here we go. And that's it. Okay. Yeah, I house sat for the past 10 months.
Stunning, Fabienne. So beautiful.
Thanks, Lauren.
Yeah, wow. I didn't get to see them before. I think I missed the night that you showed your images.
I
so.
didn't show them to anybody.
Oh, okay, then yeah. That's amazing. Really stunning. My name is Lauren, and I am a jack of all trades, but for my Art of Freelance project, I really wanted to work on getting a lot of the creative design, logo, branding stuff done for my launch, for my Botanica. So I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I was able to come up with. Can everybody see that? You guys see that? Yes. Okay, I'm getting 2 thumbs up. Okay, so this is the top sticker for a salve that I have been working on. It's got basically everything in the kitchen sink in it that is like a painkiller and an anti-inflammatory. And it's basically like a super souped up tiger balm. And it's in a little tin. Oh, I should have brought one over to show you guys. But yeah, I'm actually really proud of this work, like doing all this, the spatial arrangements and everything just it's not in my wheelhouse, but I just forced myself to sit in front of the computer and do it, and it worked out. Can you guys see this one? The next one? Okay, so this is the back of that same container, and it is also in a circle shape. So when it's printed, there will be a circle cutout. And I really appreciate all the feedback that I got through Art of Freelance, because there have just been several iterations of everything. And what I realized in doing this work is like, you don't ever get it right the first time. You have to like continue to go back and just keep working on everything until it looks good. Okay, so, and then I have one more label I want to show you guys. This has a more prominent logo. Can you guys see the whole thing?
No.
You can't see it. No?
We see the top.
Oh, that's so weird. I'm seeing the whole thing. Well, anyway, it's a rectangular logo. I'm going to go over to my website now. So hold please. Here we go. Now I've started to build this website. I'm not tech savvy at all, so it's a really slow process for me, but I just wanted to show you kind of like what I have so far, which is, you know, it's moving at a snail's pace, but I got a lot of this stuff done because of the deadlines that we set here at Art of Freelance. And it's still a work in progress. My labels haven't come yet, so it's I'm not able to do an official launch yet, but it's this experience of just having support and having, sorry guys, the ability, what's going on here? So sorry. Having the ability to get feedback was just been the best experience, and I really, really appreciate everyone from my cohort giving such awesome feedback. That's all. Thank you.
So great. You got so much done. Looks great. I think that's it for our cohort. You guys want to take over?
I think it's my turn. Hi guys, I'm Casey. I'm an environmental photojournalist, usually based out of Nairobi, Kenya. And for my art freelance project, I decided to use one of take advantage of this assignment I had going out to the western part of the country to this place called Yala Swamp. If anyone is familiar with Kenya, it's like in the western Kisumu, Siaya, Busia region. So I was out reporting with a fellow journalist for a week. And it was really nice because it was the first time that I got to focus only on visuals. Usually I'll do the interviews and the writing itself too. So it was kind of a nice experience, just focusing on the photographs. And I'll just read the background information for this project before sharing. In Kenya, climate change and human activity could spell the end of the country's largest freshwater swamp. While wetlands are repositories of culture and biodiversity, they are disappearing 3 times faster than forests on a global scale. Luo tribesmen have historically inhabited the Yala Swamp, located on the shores of Africa's chief water reservoir, Lake Victoria. Their homesteads are arranged in traditional patterns to reflect the strength of family ties. Since March of 2020, what were once seasonal floods have come to stay. The water has forced hundreds away from their ancestral homes and broken families apart. Luos bear great fear and respect for their deceased ancestors. Abandoning places of burial indicates disloyalty, which some believe may provoke hauntings and turmoil. Of course, this means that even environmental refugees refuse to leave their flooded homes. Yala Swamp contextualizes a timely and widely prevalent story, the disappearance of wetlands globally and their concomitant cultures. Swamps have been idealized and demonized, seen simultaneously as places of pestilence, but treasured as diverse ecosystems teeming with life. So I'm gonna share the images now. So here you have an image of people, they're forced to take boats now over their villages when they've never had to do that before. And you can only imagine the amount of water that the backflow has to happen for a village to be flooded out like that. And these are kids on their way to school. You know, some of these tents were provided by the UN or Red Cross, and the Kenyan government just hasn't gotten out there. So it's not meant for permanent living, but some people have been living there for 6 months, almost a year. And that's a photo of the woman's husband who passed away, not from the water, from cancer, but she's unwilling to leave her home because she says that it's just not right for her. So yeah, it was really interesting speaking to people to see whether they wanted to leave or not. And yeah, that's my Instagram handle. Thanks, guys.
Amazing work. Wow. Cool. Okay. To follow that, our Wednesday 8 p.m. cohort is next up.
What is that?
Hold on. And it looks like I'm up next. Sorry, there was a babysitting error. That's why I've got a kid with me right now. So I'm Sam. I was the cohort APM group leader. I'm just going to share my screen real quick. We've got the whole desktop.
Hold on.
Hold on.
I would have done my hair.
Hold on, sorry.
Don't worry, we've all been there, or some of us.
And some of us are happy we're not there now. Good luck, Sam.
Amen.
Right. And that's why I was 8 p.m. All right, so thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, desktop. So real quick, my project, this is a work in progress, but hold on. It's like that interview where the kids go. Oh my gosh. All right, I'll go quick. I can do this in 60 seconds. Hey, so I'm Sam. I'm a photographer based in San Diego in LA. My project was actually an idea I had come up with in the fall, Art of Freelance, but I think it was better suited for the spring, just timing and everything. It's called The Principal Dancer. And it's a long form, multi-year project documenting principal dancers with professional dance companies, ideally around the globe. Who's included? Principal dancers who are titled within professional dance companies, but there are some companies that don't have that formal ranking. So any senior professional dancer who does principal roles, maybe retired principal dancers, and then there are some soloists that are called principal soloists. They're doing principal roles, but mostly principal dancers. And because they are at technically kind of the peak of their career. So there are 4 parts to this. There's, and I'll go through each of them real quickly, the official session, interview feature, reportage, and collaboration. The first one is it's gonna be the official principal dancer session. This is the same style ideally for all dancers everywhere. So that it can be really neat to have this visual history kind of documenting them, and ideally it helps highlight the variety, even though it is the same art and the variety of dancers out there. And then I will be styling them always in skin tones and or whites, so that it really, and then more minimal clothing to show off the physicality and the artistry. This is Reika. She's a principal dancer with California Ballet, and she is the first very willing volunteer. So I'm using her as an example. Second part is the interview. I have several questions that we're gonna go through. We can do it in person and then write it out. And this will form the basis of their feature. This will be a Instagram account, Facebook page, and website. And then hopefully in like 3 to 7 years, beautiful coffee table book. We'll see. I can dream big. Third is black and white reportage photos of them. It could be them in the studio, in rehearsal, get behind the scenes at a performance, or if it's most important to show them in their home life and how that affects them in their career, we can do that. It is a very collaborative process. This is Reika getting ready for Nutcracker. And so it will be individual to the dancer and of course what the company will formally allow. Then the fourth, if they are willing and able, a collaborative session. This is their opportunity to think about what they want to look like and be portrayed as and remembered as visually. It can be anything from, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to look like I'm on the cover of Vanity Fair, to I want something really out there and contemporary, and it's then we together get to come and style it. Reika just wanted something fun, athletic, and pink. So that's what we did. Here's a quick example of how it could, variety. To me, this introduces variety into the project, which is really fun and challenging. These are samples of working with other dancers. Part of my project was obviously building the project. Here's brand style guide, tone of voice. Let's see. There's lots of other things as part of it, model release, everything. And why am I doing this? Because that's me. I was a dancer before I was a photographer. And so dance is my greatest passion. Photography is my great passion. And I also I used to be a brand designer, and I love typography, and I just editorial design. So to me, it's like the ultimate dream project to work on. And then personally, and then for the art, I've talked to several principal dancers and thought leaders within the industry, and they also feel that it is a valuable offering for other dancers, and especially upcoming dancers, to highlight what it really takes to achieve that status, to hopefully highlight diversity more. And so yeah, that is my project. If you want to follow along, the principal dancer is on Instagram, but if you want to get like an email update, you can just do my newsletter, sign up on samzausch.com or samzausch photo. No, yes, samzausch photo. Anyway, thank you. Let's see. Let me close this. All right. Next in our cohort is Travis, but I don't see him here yet. And same with
Brian might be up next.
Yeah. Yep, Brian, you're next.
Yay. Sam, thank you for being the cohort and running the program. It's great to see everybody here, and Art of Freelance is a great project. So it's nice to be part of it. You know, my project, I moved right before COVID up to Santa Barbara from LA, and while thinking about the project, I thought it would be a great way. You know, there are a few forward-facing companies that were dealing with COVID like we all were, but they stayed open. And I've met the owners and decided that I wanted to shoot a portrait project with them, featuring the forward-facing brick and mortar businesses, which has become, it was a lot more difficult to get, everybody's agreed to do it, but in the time frame, I've only been able to secure one shoot so far, which that's not it. So, and I do have other ones scheduled. Actually, I'm shooting a florist on Sunday. We've got that one scheduled. I did finish with a neighborhood pizza joint that I visited frequently during the pandemic. It was, when I'm shooting it, I'm also working with an 8x10 camera, as well as my cell phone, as well as my Canon. So I'm kind of running on all the way through the different varieties, because some of the locations, just the 8x10 is not going to work. And I definitely want to still document the project. So I'm going to share the one that I did get finished. Wow, how do I get to? Can you guys see that? Yes, yes, good, okay. So I went and scouted. I've scouted most of the locations I'm going to shoot. It's just a matter of working out the timing with each business owner and to see if, again, I was trying, I think maybe I was a little aggressive in my idea, because I wanted to also create historically important images, things that people will look at, say 50 or 60 or 100 years from now. and be able to identify a building and what the business was in that building. But you can see some of these are just scouting. I was trying to decide whether I was going to shoot in or shoot out. The proprietor, again, I thought it was nice to have the mask in the shot because that is the time we're doing it. So, but I did want to photograph from the outside and the exterior of the building. So this is getting things set up. This is using the small format. I did want to, just for the owner, I wanted him to document the crew. And then I got the camera and was setting up for the 8x10, which is surprising. I used to do a lot of 8x10 back in the beginning of my career, and I haven't had this camera out in a while. And it is surprising how easy photography has gotten, because working with an 8x10 large format camera is a real pain in the tush. And then this is a couple of, so I mean, I like this. I did, you know, I shot 8 sheets on the subject, and these are the 2 that I kind of liked. I also created one with the group, but I didn't, I think these are more of what I was trying to accomplish with the project. So Instagram, you know, I'm a professional photographer. I've been in this business for 37 years, and I've done well with the commercial work and my personal projects. So you could follow me there if you want. But again, thanks again for everyone in the Art of Freelance. And thank you again, Sam, for you.
Awesome. All right, Alicia V, we got you.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to be sharing a project that I've wanted to do for a really long time. And I sort of had this epiphany last year that art, science, and technology is what I seek out in museums, and maybe I just ought to start making work like that. But a big shout out to the cohort for sort of just diving in and making it a fun process. I am just going to share my screen. So as a photographer, I find myself veering more towards an interdisciplinary sort of method where I want to incorporate audio. I want to incorporate, I do use a lot of cartography, and I am an earth scientist at the end of the day, so I do use a lot of earth science. So this is a series called Mausam Tha Suhana, which in Hindi means the weather was wonderful, like back then. And I'm seeking to document sort of personal stories of the weather and combine it with earth science. So I'm just going to sort of run through these images. I've done 3 stories.
The only childhood memories and the only color I associate with has been yellow. And it's always been yellow because there was always too much sun around where I grew up.
So the idea for Art of Freelance was to try and build an interface, and for me to understand how well all these ideas of mine can come together, and if they do sit well, if they do not sit well.
I remember having to spend the entire time home because it would be too hot to do anything else, and it would be like a really long, unending summer vacation every time.
And I think one thing the cohort really emphasized on was to make it interactive and to slow it down. So there's a lot of clicks, a lot of hovers, a lot of plays.
Maybe my nanny's house a little because there were a lot of windows in it, but my dad's house was really, really hot. It is a nightmare the way that house is built. We'd just be...
I'm going to skip ahead to the next story.
The atmosphere is just something else. If I were to just close my eyes at any given point of time, and if you tell me to visualize it, it's actually quite sunny. Usually the month of October, seasons are transitioning. The weather clears up after a long monsoon period. It's not too cold. It's really, really pleasant. The temperature should be around 19 to 23 degrees, not more than that.
So weather and atmospheric science play an integral role in my work. And I'm trying to humanize or make interesting or relatable these stories about the monsoons, the weather in general.
There are a lot of marigold plants that people grow there during this time. the essential purpose of it is to make garlands. In general, you will just see so many different varieties of marigolds. There are yellow ones, there are bright orange ones, there are tiny ones, and there are those big, lush marigolds. And they're just so beautiful to watch. And you can smell them when you're in a place with a lot of marigolds, which is almost every household during that time.
So she basically talks about how autumn in Kathmandu reminds her of the festive season. In the subcontinent, there's a lot of large festivals at that time, and she hasn't been home in a really long time. So this was quite, I think she got really emotional while doing this story, but I'm really thankful for her to share it. And I'm going to skip ahead, but she basically talks about the summer of 2003 when she felt really ill and how, her father was far away, and then how when he returned in the autumn, it just felt like everything came back together all over again. And I am just going to show one more quick clip if I have 60 seconds.
Bombay as a city is already so large, and so there's such an easy sense of anonymity in a space like that. But I think the monsoon further adds to that. You look outside and you can't really see anything. You could be sitting in the car and not really be able to see the car next to you. But at the same time, everyone is kind of in it together. So I'm thinking back to like the 2008 floods and just the way people helped one another to get home safely to where they were. I wasn't there, but I had family who walked from like Bandra to Lokhandwala, and people held hands and walked that distance because their cars were all stuck. And so I think there's something very quietly beautiful about it as well that adds to the character of Bombay as a city on the whole.
And that's all I've got. Thank you.
So cool, Alicia.
So beautiful. Really, really great.
We have Tatiana.
Thank you. That was amazing. Wow, so good to see. Okay, so this is also my second time in the Art of Freelance. I was half part of it with like Coyote Kids and nature environmental program for kids to bring them to the park and spend time there and learn about local animals. I did that with my friend Camille. She's a biologist and teacher, and it was very fun. But now I actually finished a project that I wanted to do for 10 years. And this idea has been in my mind. It's a book about Poppy's magical adventures. And I found a book when I was in Mexico about Mayan wisdom of animals. And I always came back to this thought, I have to put the essence of these stories with pictures together and make just a simple storybook. And I'm so glad I joined Art of Freelance because you need the deadline to just sit down and do it. And I'm not fully finished, but I share my screen. What it looks like right now. Can you see it? I hope it works. Good. So it's called Poppy's Magical Adventures in the Sierra Nevadas. And this is how these animals will be highlighted. And it's pretty much about learning from each animal the one message that you can that carries you on and helps you also in difficult times. And first, I kind of want to introduce just Poppy. She's like my dog. She's really my inspiration. She's always sniffing, always exploring. And yeah, a lot of ideas come to mind what I could do with Poppy. So I just painted a couple of very simple background photos. And I'm by no means any illustrator or person, but I just found this program, Bookwrite on Blurb, and I just put it together the last 3 days. And I'm like, okay, what can I do with it now to just make it a little bit better? So, for example, it starts with the hawk, change of perspective, and with the vision comes clarity and Poppy meets the hawk and then rides and flies with the hawk. And that it's kind of like for children also to always remember to look at the things from a different perspective, and like that you have to remember that you can fly high. And the snake, for example, is the movement of life, and everything in life moves in a snaky movement, like the river that runs down from the mountain, or the footprints of a person in the sand, or the trunk of a tree, the smoke, how it leads up to the air. Where else can you see the movement of the snake? And all forms of earth have the same design as our DNA. So what a surprise for the scientists to see when pieces of the stars fell from the sky to the earth and have the same design as the DNA. And the hummingbird teaches us only to take the good essence of things. And we are free. No one can take this freedom away. One of my favorite lessons is also the butterfly, because it's also the connection to this instant moment, and the treasure. To treasure it is the medicine. And you can tell it is from a Spanish book. And I am very connected with the author. We chat on WhatsApp. Mabel Flores is her name, and she is in on the idea. She doesn't speak English, so she's very happy that I'm doing this. But eventually, I want to translate it into Spanish as well, and so I can send her a copy as well. The blue hour is in there because I'm always fascinated. Like this book takes place in the Alabama hills, where Poppy is exploring the campground and meets the animals there, and just the skies there, to pay attention to all the different types of blues that are out there even after sunset. It's just so fascinating. And how can you put this in a little story? And actually the spider lesson is one that started the idea of a little book, because it's like, how do you spin your web of life? Like, how do you spin it so it supports you? And the spider, for example, just sits in the middle of her net, in her web, and she knows that everything she needs in life comes to her. The information about weather, the food. So how can you spin your web of life? And then the coyote finding a different path through the forest, believing in your dreams. The owl has the superpower of stillness, and she can pierce through darkness, full of wisdom and mystery. And do you know that stillness is a superpower? And how can we maybe cultivate also more stillness? And the bat is the stomach of the night, is fertile and holds the magic of the stars. And yeah, the bat accompanied our ancestors in the caves of the mother. And I still have to edit some of the text, but that's where it is in the moment. And I just want to share these nature stories because they have been with me for so many years and have helped me tons of time and have probably made me a way better person. So I thought I have to sprinkle that into these stories and yeah, make something out of it. That's it. Thank you so much for listening.
I think that is it for tonight. A fine send-off there. I will leave it up to Samantha and James as the cohort guides if there's anything else you guys want to say. And thanks so much, guys. Amazing work, though. Marn.
Just a special shout out to the best cohort ever. Yeah.
Thank you for shouting us out. And to the other greatest cohort ever, congratulations. You did a great job.
Touché.
And we love sharing the space with you. It's so great.
Likewise. No, it's always fun to like